about you, girl, on your 16th birthday. Yeah, it's all about Pearl.
Okay, we're under tornado watch. I've been moving things, so I'm sweaty, but hey, priorities. Let's talk about Daisy Jones and the Six. What's up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel, this brand new Prime Video original series, which is based off of the book Daisy Jones and the Six. I did not know what to expect, but I like the cast. What's this series about? This show is following the rise of rock band Daisy Jones and the Six through the 70s Los Angeles music scene on their quest for worldwide icon status, starring Riley Keough, Sam Claflin, and a plethora of brilliant actors and actresses. This series is rated 16+. From all of the things you expect from this type of genre, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, the meteoric rise of this band who swept the nation, swept the world, but where did they come from and what happened to get them to the point that we see in these interviews that are being conducted? And that's kind of how we start out the first episode. We see them now from the show's standpoint, but we get to flashback and see how they got to that point and why certain members of the band, well, they don't really seem happy with each other. And that is somewhat of a cliche, right? The conventional, the rock band, they get together and they break up and there's drugs involved. There are moments in their lives where things come to a peak and they clash for good reason, but is this going to be interesting enough to keep your attention, especially the fact that it's not based on an actual band? Well, it is, from the show's standpoint. And I think what a lot of people were looking forward to was the music that comes from this show. That's the big topic of discussion, and you have two really talented actors at the head, both of the series and the band. Sam Claflin, who every time I see him, he's doing a really nice job, but I think this is his opportunity to show what he is truly made of. This may just be his best performance yet, and he kind of goes down the path that you expect from a character like this, but there are dynamics to his character that maybe I wasn't expecting. Now, things do happen quick. The first 3 episodes, and those are the 3 episodes that are dropping on Amazon this weekend, they move through a big portion of their lives, and I think an important portion, how they got to where they are and how they got together. Because it doesn't necessarily start that way. They have their moment and they have to seize that moment, but where do they end up soon after? And I think that was really fun to explore in the first few episodes. Riley Keough plays Daisy Jones. Riley Keough is spectacular in this show. She's not as much of the focus throughout the first 3 episodes. I mean, she's there, and we see how she is getting to that point, but she comes into focus much more in the later portion of the series. So if you're thinking, well, I like what we're getting, I like the rise of this part of the band, but I need more Daisy Jones, don't worry, that is coming. And everything about Riley Keough's performance was phenomenal. I think that chemistry, or really lack thereof, between Claflin and Keough, between Claflin and Marone, that was a relationship. I liked the beginning of it. I was excited to explore where we were headed there. And then some of the other members of the band and some of the other actors in general. Josh Whitehouse, Will Harrelson, and then a storyline that becomes much more important as we move throughout the show. A character by the name of Simone Jackson that becomes not only a separate storyline that we'll cut to every now and then, it becomes an integral part of the show. And while I liked her character, and I think the significance of her character is important, especially when it came to the rise of the band that we're following, there was a lot going on at a point. And I think we're about 6 episodes in. I'm thinking to myself, maybe we could strip down some of these subplots and not necessarily even shift focus, just give us less of one thing and more of the other. I liked what we were getting regardless because I think it's an interesting character study, but it almost feels as if the focus was somewhat being lost in that second batch of episodes. Thankfully, it finds itself, it comes back into its own, and I think the performances are really good regardless. And, you know, it's one of those shows you look at, am I going to be impressed not only with the performances and the way it progresses, because we have seen this genre, and we've seen parodies of this genre countless times. Is it going to fall into that? And it does, every now and then. When the drugs become a thing, they really become a thing. When characters fall off and lose their way, they're absolutely going to lose their way. But I was really entertained by the performances and the music, the songs. A couple in the first few episodes, but as we get better as a band, obviously the music's going to get better. Whenever they were performing on stage, I was actually really impressed with what they were able to do. And the filmmaking as well, I thought was really nice. You know, you're going to see and listen to some of those songs. You're going to hear those performances over and over. I think that could get repetitive for some, and there are numerous scenes spent on the same songs happening over and over. You're going to get that in a show like this, a movie like this, but you're kind of there for the music, so it didn't really bother me all that much. Also, the charm of this 70s setting. There's something about this setting, and when you're dealing with a rock band or you're dealing with a significant character that gets into this world, and maybe not even necessarily a show about a rock band, but I love the way this looks and feels. It really does feel like the 70s, and I appreciated the attention to detail all throughout the show, not just in the beginning. Also, I didn't mention characters played by Timothy Oliphant and Tom Wright, playing a fairly significant part, maybe not as significant as others, but I liked those performances as well. Within that setting, you also have the counterculture, those that are going against the system, and we have to take advantage of our one opportunity and show the world, prove to the world that we can do it and we can push against everything that has come before. How many times have we seen that in a show or movie like this? How many times are we going to continue to see that? I think some critics will see that as lazy. I think some people will watch this and say, I have seen too much like this to fully appreciate what this show is doing, what this show is bringing us. And I do think the writing is a bit faulty at points, and if that becomes too much, then I think some people, especially some movie critics, are going to have an issue with this. So I don't know if it's going to be overwhelmingly loved by critics as well as audiences, but I watched this thinking, man, I wish this band existed. Even when you're getting those scenes that are filmed in that style and it looks like it comes from that time period, I'm like, I wish this was real footage. I wish these were real people, because I grew to love them as the show progressed. I binged all the way through it, and I honestly think that's the best way to do it. I don't love the fact that they're doing this 3 episodes at a time, because I could imagine watching the first 3 episodes and thinking, well, are we going to get more of this? Where's this story going to go? It's a little bit too cliche. So if you have the opportunity to binge at the end, maybe do that. Otherwise, I think you are at least going to be craving the episode to come next. There's also that issue of people potentially watching this and saying, well, why didn't you just do one about Fleetwood Mac? Because that's kind of what this band is. And I can understand that. But again, you want to have a little bit more creative control with these characters and the direction that they go. So I understand why they're taking from this source material, and frankly, I found it to be more interesting than I thought it would be when I started the show. Before I give you my score, if you want to help this channel, dropping a like would be awesome. Also, leave your comments down below. What is your favorite show or movie in this band? What's the genre? True story or not, let me know. I just rewatched Rocketman. I love that movie. Daisy Jones and the Six is much more engaging than I expected, as the soundtrack and chemistry between the cast allows it to stand out from a crowded genre. It does occasionally feel generic, but mostly overcomes. I liked it. I've seen every episode. I'm going an 81% with my score. I need to know your score for the first 3 episodes, and once you finish the show, come back, let me know if you enjoyed how it ended. Thanks so much for being here. I think we're under a tornado warning now, so I'll be seeing you soon. Maybe.
On your 16th birthday, we'll pay attention to you, girl. Everyone has to do just what you say.